Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our MCT Marketplace webinar. For those of you that have been on our webinars before, we give it a couple minutes to let the rest of the attendees join. So we're going to give it to 11:03 Pacific, and we'll start then. Well, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Appreciate everybody for joining. This is our MCT Marketplace webinar, which we launched a couple weeks ago as far as the MCT Marketplace, and we're going to go over the benefits from both the buyer side and the seller side today. And talk a little bit about the specifics and kind of some of the specific changes that we're looking to, push onto the process, onto the loan sale process. So for presenters, we have myself, Phil Rasori, the COO of MCT. We have Paul Yarbrough, who heads up our client success group, and we have Justin Grant, who's head of our investor services. And as you might expect, Paul and Justin are going to handle the bulk of this webinar. I'll just kind of give an introduction here and round us out at the end. So we're going to jump right into it. Basically, I'll go through just a quick, very truncated secondary market update. I think there's no secret there on what's going on. But we've got a lot of buyers on the line. So on the buy side, obviously the buy side is always interested in what the sell side's seeing from a lock standpoint, because the buy side is generally 45 to 60 days trailing in volume on that versus the front end locks. Then we'll go through kind of where the timeline of MCT's platforms and kind of the origination of BAM, and which most all of you on the line are familiar with, and how that's transitioning to just a general MCT marketplace. And then Justin's going to go through how we can how these tools on the marketplace buy side can improve performance for correspondent investor buyers, and then and then Paul's going to go through how we can use some of the functionality that exists within the marketplace, such as security spread commitment to optimize your loan sales and really take a true broad potential execution for every loan that you're selling, not just on the investors that you are approved with. And then Paul will also talk through the MCT loan trading diagnostics, the next steps there. And then if we have some time, we'll go through any questions that we've got. So basically, like I said, on the current market, we just wanted to produce our lock indice graph since September 1st of this year, and again, no secret, as expected, with the continued market deterioration. Although we've had a little bit of a break in the last few days of the continued trend upwards in rates. As expected, and both from a seasonality perspective and a market perspective, we're seeing a continued drop. Obviously, September 1st of this year was no picnic either, and these MCT lock indices follow a 10-day trading, so 2-week trailing average of locks. So we're seeing the 2-week trailing average of new locks down about 20% from September 1st. And so you can see kind of interesting that all three, cash out, rate term, purchase, all three are basically converged down around that 20% number. Obviously, the refis, because they're so few and far between, are very jagged. Sometimes clients will ask us, why we've got the indice shooting up on the refi side, 25% month over month. Just remember that when you're starting off with one loan, if you go to 2 loans, that's 100% increase. So might not be that extreme, but you're dealing with a small amount of volume on some of the on the rate term refi at least. So I wanted to go through the history of MCT's kind of innovation in the loan sale execution space, and it goes back to 2017. And for all the buyers on the phone, we really thank you guys for all getting on BAM in 2017. Basically 100% of you did, and in very quick fashion. It was released in June with a couple of the largest investors into July, and then basically by the end of the third quarter of 2017, 100% of the investors were on the system. And that was a big move, right? Historically, all of these tapes had been emailed back and forth, literally, hundreds of tapes a day, tens of thousands of loans per day were being emailed. And as if you go back further in time, when you went back to, and I know for those of you that've been on our timelines webinars before, you'll remember these dates. But in 2012, we had very few investors. Obviously, direct trade was was primarily from Wells Fargo, which was dominating the market in 2012. That was a phone execution, so we really didn't have the data concerns from sending emails. And then really it was the taper tantrum of 2013, which created the MSR asset to become in vogue, and really created this proliferation of servicing buyers on the correspondent side in starting in 2014. And that's when the bid tape, kind of, as we would call it, the bid tape revolution happened. And for the next 3 years, there was with property addresses and all of this MPI information, all of this data was getting sent around to dozens and dozens of investors, for each lender. And so we knew we had to encrypt that data in transit and create a centralized kind of repository where buyers could go in and see these tapes real time, and then post the levels back, and then see where requested commitments came through, and then post the confirmation. So that was 2017. And then 2018, we've talked about this a lot. Again, we'll credit, although they're no longer here in our space, we'll credit Wells Fargo for kind of bringing the bid tape AOT execution, so bringing AOT back. The bid tape for basically killed AOT back in 2014 because it became a sharper execution. But AOT for assignment of trade for so many reasons, and we'll get into that a little bit later, is extremely valuable from a lender perspective. And so that came back, and so that was a big initiative of MCT's to push that out to more investors in 2018 and automate the lender side in 2018. Then in 2019, we formalized a lot of our investor relationships, and that was starting to work on the buy side in 2019. And that's really when Justin started formalizing buyer tools that could rapidly and automatically price loans from our sellers and price them automatically on the buy side, so that we could basically expand the amount of expand the reach of a lot of smaller investors, buyers within our sell side client base. And then 2020, born out of the crisis of the pandemic, was BAM Marketplace, and really the genesis of BAM Marketplace was when we had the crisis in aggregator execution. I mean, there were a lot of crises, obviously, in first half of or I guess end of first quarter, second quarter of 2020. BAM Marketplace was really a revolution where we were able to hook up clients, customers of MCT that were approved with agencies and were approved with Ginnie Mae, to those that were not approved. And out of that came a couple things. It came number one, security spread commitment, where we were able to affect transactions between a buyer and a seller that were not papered up, if you will, that were not approved. And then basically everybody was held in relative, protected relatively by the security spread. The seller retained their hedge, the buyer didn't put their hedge on, and then the approval could be affected later, and then it would convert from a security spread commitment to a price commitment. Justin will talk about that more, but we're really proud of that, and we really think that is something that can be expanded upon in MCT Marketplace going forward. And then 2022, BAM Co is just the co-issue version of BAM. Look, this is credit to both agencies, starting with Fannie's SMP and what Freddie's done with CRX and CIX. Look, we see the future of servicing buying, being more servicers, more servicing buyers, buying on flow and buying and not having minimums. There are still some servicing buyers that request monthly minimums. We frankly see that going away. If you kind of use the analogy to bid tapes, there were investors in 2013 and 2014 as the bid tapes came back that said, we're never going to bid on less than $1 million. And 100% of those investors will bid your tape at one loan now. We think that same, we're confident that that same transition is going to occur on the flow servicing side. So we think there's a lot there. So for the next slide, I just, it wouldn't be an MCT webinar if we didn't hit on AOT. Look, a little bit of better to be lucky than good. We've been pushing AOT for a long time on the bid tape side. The bottom line is that there is as you've continued to transition further and further up in coupon, you continue to basically hit broken markets where you'll see, for those of you that are on the electronic trading platforms like Tradeweb and Bloomberg, you'll see these crazy wacky bid offer spreads, and that's just illiquid coupons. We talked about the Fed being out of the market. The Fed's gonna, and actually kind of hurting the market, right, as they run off their portfolio, and at current run rates, that's going to take about 10 years to do so. So we're going to be here for a while where we don't have a lot of external help in this market, and if you continue to move up in coupon, you're going to continue to get these nasty bid offer spreads. So the reason I say better to be lucky than good, bid tape AOT was always a savings. Back in the heydays of quantitative easing, those days we all dream of now in middle of 2021, where we would have had bid offer spreads in the 3 basis point range, and in some of the market coupons even less than that. It was still 3 basis points. It was a valuable pickup. There was also cash flow benefits for independent mortgage lenders. Fast forward 2 years to where we are now, and it's absolutely essential to doing business. In the Ginnie side, we consistently have bid offer spreads in these high coupons. Again, as you transition these coupons, they'll go down, but right now we consistently have bid offer spreads that are upwards of a 1/4 point in the 7.5 coupon and God forbid higher coupons. So we will continue to push this. We're and we fully, especially with kind of what we're seeing with Ginnie Mae and the fact that we're not seeing a lot of new Ginnie Mae approvals. This is going to become, almost absolutely essential for any Ginnie FHA execution, and so that's what we're going to push coming out of Marketplace. And then the other thing I want to talk about, just as a bit, and then Justin will get into actually what we're doing here with MCT Marketplace. I want to talk about the counterparties on the aggregator side versus the co-issue side. For those of you that were at our MCT exchange conference in March of this year, this is a identical slide to when we were talking about BAMCO, right? And this really is, if you look at a customer of ours that we would say has great execution ability. They've got their, starting from the bottom there, they've got their retained execution, and that's one execution. We leave it at 1 there, but frankly, it could be, we do have some customers that use multiple servicing valuation providers. They might use MCT, and then they might use a couple additional providers just to get multiple opinions of value there. Then moving up to co-issue, we averaged about 2.5 co-issue buyers. In aggregators, we currently average a little over 20 aggregator buyers for a given lender. And so if you look at that the aggregator has got plenty of executions. what's lacking there is the co-issue side. Most of the on both Fannie and Freddie, there's well over a dozen legitimate co-issue buyers that are buying from hundreds of lenders, and what we want to do is we want to expand that number. We're not ops people at MCT. We're laser focused in capital markets, but it's easy for us to see that from an operations perspective, it's a no-brainer for the co-issue number and probably to go up. And I think from an operations perspective, it would make more sense for the co-issue number to be higher than the aggregator number. Not to say that that's where it's going, but we definitely want to make those two closer to parity. And so that's the big change. And we've talked about this for the last year, but we're going to continue to push this. That we believe that that's where the additional execution is on the servicing release side, is for lenders to get more co-issue buyer approvals, and that's done through BAMCO, which we're now wrapping into to MCT Marketplace. So to go through the vision here on MCT Marketplace, basically, look, it's first and foremost, it's going to be liquidity, right? And I should have said liquidity and efficiency here. It's going to be we're always looking for, we always have and always will look for new correspondent whole loan buyers. We're going to be I think support new AOT executions is probably a little bit of a soft term. We're going to be pushing those AOT executions because we're going to push more into the sell side of showing just how much execution you're giving up by executing to a non-AOT execution, given the pair off. There's some complications there, and we have what's called an AOT pay up matrix that will automatically adjust, and that'll increase your, it'll bias your execution up. This is for you on a lender side. On a sell side, we have that, but there's some complications of what we call like trade coverage. So if you're assigning to, if you've got a $1.7 million loan sale and you're assigning $1 million in loans, there's that percentage that needs to be taken into account. And then there is some there is the trade recycling, right? And so you need to take that into account as well. So if you're saving 10 basis points or 20 basis points on a bid offer spread, it's not actually 20 basis points. So those are some of the factors we're going to be adding in on the sell side. But the bottom line is like I said before, we want to push it on agency execution as well. But for government execution, we're confident that within the next year or so, the vast majority of FHA commitments will have a trade behind them because the liquidity simply is not there in the corresponding Ginnie Mae security. And then on the automation side, Justin's going to talk all about this. He's going to, I'm going to actually leave this section to Justin. This is where I'm going to turn it over to Justin on this slide. But on the security, I'd just say that we talked about this on a separate webinar. I'd say a couple months ago. We made a big push in 2018 when we had developed our first geocoder to remove NPI. At that time, we're always client focused at MCT. We always will be, and we're client execution focused. And the reason I say that is we were gonna limit all NPI, all property address data out of our bid tapes. But in 2018, there were a couple investors that came to us and said they just simply could not support. They just simply could not support the geocodes, the census tract geocodes over property address. So we weren't able to do it across the board. With that said, now it's different, right? A big move was the FHFA LLPA AMI waiver that really brought census tract data, right? Because you needed the AMI of that census tract, brought that into LLPA calculation. And again, credit to Freddie Mac here by pushing out early their income limits API. We were able to connect to that. I know a lot of investors have connected to that, and we pass some of that information to investors as well. So the reason I say this is for the buy side and the sell side. This time, we feel that there's no excuse, for anyone, and we're going to continue to work with investors, but we do need everybody, on a track to pull that data out. Again, at the end of the day, everyone on this call agrees that the only group that should, the only counterparty that should actually get that data is the one that buys the loan. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Justin. Justin, maybe you can talk about kind of in the vision some of our what we're doing on the automation side and take it from there.
Yeah, appreciate it, Phil. Great job kind of setting the stage here, for these other important topics regarding liquidity and security. And, regarding the automation, if, those of you who are MCT clients and have been MCT clients for some time, you'll know that, kind of that progression that Phil talked about starting back in 2017 with the creation of BAM, right? All of these, all of these kind of key points in time where we've, developed, some really powerful tools has all, really primary driver has been to further automate and kind of enhance and quicken the entire loan sale process. And so, we're continuing to be laser focused on that piece. And this is from both the sell side experience and also kind of my direct responsibility helping out, all the buyers out there. So things like Phil mentioned, right? We've got, industry leading tools to help, really quicken the bid process and make that as efficient as possible, while also allowing, investors to really sharpen their price and get the most granular price, to the sellers on the platform. We'll kind of go into that a little more detail here. As far as kind of reducing the market friction. If you'll remember at our exchange earlier in March, again, for those that are MCT clients, it's not just kind of the bid process, during the loan sale. I mean, we're laser focused on, really making that entire lender investor relationship as kind of seamless as possible. Really, not just starting when once the two counterparties are approved. This starts in the beginning from, with the shadow pricing, and during the approval process. So we'll kind of go into that in a little bit as well. Just to give everybody kind of a quick overview of the MCT Marketplace, what that looks like. Obviously we're bringing together buyers and sellers daily on the platform. We've got over 280 sellers that, any given day are selling their loans to aggregators and directly to the agencies. We've 70 plus established investors that, those sellers are some sort of combination are selling to. And with the introduction of our BAM marketplace that Phil talked about during 2020, we've since, introduced, 10 plus correspondents participating in kind of that live dynamic shadow bidding process where, again, it's our goal to, really get every loan priced to every investor, regardless of the approval status there. So I think those of you last week, I believe Lakeview, Bayview was our most recent addition to participate. And then same thing on the co-issue side. We've got, now 4 participating buyers in Mr. Cooper, BSI, Marlin Mortgage, and Lakeview. So that's going to continue, like Phil mentioned. No reason that folks shouldn't be looking at more co-issue options. Especially when they're looking at multiples larger on the whole loan side. So that marketplace in a whole, we are those 280 sellers. As far as mandatory bidding daily, we are the largest marketplace out there. We're almost $1 billion in daily transactions, and represent about half of all mandatory sellers out there. So for those of you who are buyers out there, obviously a nice one-stop shop. Those of you thinking about potentially buying, all the investors on our platform, it's a good mix of niche buyers. We've got a lot of buyers who are just focused on certain types of production, and they're not looking to buy everything and from everyone out there. It's really a great mix of different types of counterparties, which I think make us a little unique. We really want to have every execution type, every counterparty, and every opportunity. So what do we mean by that? Phil talked about the execution types out there, right? If you're an originator, you need to be looking at whole loan bids. We encourage everybody out there that has the ability to get approved with at least one of the agencies, and all of them if you can. So really we're looking at different types of executions, whether they're direct agency or whole loan. You've got your co-issue buyers, but on top of that, taking advantage of the different types of executions within there. So AOT, right? So kind of we harp on that, the obvious savings just from the bid-ask spread standpoint. More important than ever in this market with the Fed out there and kind of the rise in rate that we've seen over the last year and a half now. So most likely that spread is going to continue to stay pretty wide. And then every counterparty, right? MCT Marketplace is the only platform where if you're a seller, you can actually see, consistent live executable bids from other investors with whom you're not approved with, and that's that is bringing tremendous transparency and liquidity to the market, and that's really facilitated by that security spread commitment that that Phil talked about. And we think that we expect and we will push that vehicle or that means of committing. There's a lot of applications specifically as it relates to CRA or other types of niche products that investors or interested buyers potentially want to pick off early, maybe peer into your pipeline, see what's available, and make an offer to a seller before the loan's even closed. So there's a lot of great applications for for that security spread commitment that we'll definitely be looking to leverage going forward. And every opportunity, right? We both buyers and sellers got a lot of great analytics, from color. Those sellers on the platform, if you're participating in the marketplace and getting those live shadow bids from both the co-issue standpoint and the whole loan, you're getting some great visibility real time during your loan sale on kind of where those investors will be making a difference, and some powerful analytics as far as historically over time, would they be meaningful and add to your bottom line? And then same thing for the investors, powerful analytics that really can help, slice and dice your competitiveness, whether it's by FICO bucket or interest rate. A lot of different ways to dig into there and see where there may be opportunities to, with an improvement in price and how that might change your market share. So really an all-in-one stop here for the marketplace. And I wanted to quickly show this graphic too of our security spread commitment and kind of how that is facilitating the loan sale process with our folks who are with our investors who are participating on the whole loan side. On the co-issue side, a little different since you have two parties with the agency and the servicing buyer. But really, best execution is not just you as your originator and your approved buyers. It's all of the buyers out there. And again, that transparency and goal of pricing every loan to every investor, is what we're looking to achieve with the marketplace to, truly give any originator out there an idea of what best X is for them, which again, probably involves other counterparties that they're not currently approved with. So on the investor side, Paul's going to go into, some of these, how the marketplace is helping sellers on the platform. For our buyers, how are we improving performance? Well, marketplace really allows an investor to build a bigger base of sellers, and it starts with streamlining the process and making that bid process efficient with the marketplace. They can get in and be more efficient with handling all of those daily bids, and then take it a step further, really allowing them to get a broader reach into all of the other sellers on the platform, who are not currently approved. So again, that kind of dynamic shadow bidding process, with the security spread commitment. Now, not all investors are going to offer that, but we have a lot that do, and it's really a competitive advantage for the sellers who, it's a great way to kind of get started, kick off the relationship with. So really, marketplace is a great way for any investor, frankly, that is looking to grow their seller base. Really allows you to kind of get exposure right away and identify the low-hanging fruit, those originators who are selling the type of product that you have an axe for. And then really, marketplace is going to help facilitate increased engagement with your existing sellers. So a lot of buyers know, right, if you have a seller who's not on a platform like MCT Marketplace and they're just emailing bids, or some other more manual process, that is going to, frankly, that doesn't guarantee you're always going to be getting bids. If it's every time they're doing a loan sale, it's going to be a manual process. So being a marketplace, again, that makes it super easy for your sellers, where it's very easy for them to set up their bid tapes and shoot those out to investors like yourself. And then we've got tools that, Phil mentioned that our the investor services over here, really we think these are industry leading bid tools for the investor community that, not only help kind of sharpen and refine pricing, allow them to, bid the exact price they want to bid on certain products, but really facilitate that turnaround time. So, and I think MCT has kind of been a real leader with this over the years with BAM and in really pushing the investor community to shorten that turnaround time for on the bids, and we're continuing that with the tools, whether it's tapping into our bid tape API or leveraging kind of the automated tools that we can provide, which allow investors to kind of turn those around really within seconds. I mentioned improving and sharpening pricing. For delivery methods, really, the AOT is the obvious one there, and we'll kind of show what that looks like here in a second with a couple of screenshots. But really, as Phil has mentioned, that the AOT is becoming more and more paramount, just given the environment. We're seeing a lot of the investors who historically have not offered this now, realize that this is something that they need to be able to offer their clients. And our bidding tools can really facilitate this, do all the hard work with, kind of the overages or underages that Phil was alluding to there, on top of automating that tri-party process, which, frankly, historically was one of the big reasons, investor may have shied away from offering the AOT was really kind of that back office process. And, with the automation that we've enabled here at MCT, and then now with kind of closing the loop or the gap with Agile, bringing the broker dealers on the same database of record here, we've kind of completely solved for that entire back office process with those AOTs. Again, the live executable shadow bids, if you're an MCT investor services client as an investor leveraging our tools, the key here is being able to get those loan level market spots into the bid, and then also facilitating that process. And we've really tailored our tools to be able to facilitate this this novel idea of the security spread bid here for your sellers. And I touched on the market color as well. With how competitive it is in the market today, it's paramount that investors are taking advantage of reviewing kind of where they're aggressive. Obviously, there's not a lot of margin in correspondent these days, but having kind of actionable insight into where you're competitive or where you're not, because that's dynamic and changing every day. So, and this last bullet point, frankly, we're barely into the first inning with this here at MCT in the marketplace. And part of our vision is being able to have the investor community not just bid daily on what their sellers are sending them as far as closed loans, but we kind of have a vision of investors being able to kind of peer into what's available in the hedge pipeline, of an investor. And I say that because there's axes for things like CRA, or especially now with the agencies, the low income production, and other niche products. It could be that an investor has a need to kind of close the gap on a security that they need to fill, and it might be worth for them to pay up a good amount. So we think there's huge value and opportunity in being able to again provide that transparency into not just closed loans, but what's in the hedge, and facilitating transaction kind of earlier in the process. Um, so as far as unique features for our buyers, again, if you're leveraging our tools, this is going to allow you to facilitate security spread commitments. You're going to have a complete technology package. You know, whether you're a new buyer or maybe you're an existing investor but just haven't been able to scale and need the tools, don't quite have the sales force necessary to really scale. Again, you're able to show your pricing, get your pricing across to those 280 plus sellers instantly. And again, that's all done through our embedded bid tape pricing tools and the API connectivity, which is really going to let you, easily manage your margins, restrict out what you do and don't want to buy, and leverage those analytics. I'm going to speed through a couple of these here just so we give Paul some time, but just want to give for those investors on the line here and even the sellers, just so you can truly understand, the powerful tools we're giving the buyer community. You'll see here, we talked about AOT, right? This is a snapshot of our seller management console that investors, who are leveraging our tools have access to. So not only, is it going to facilitate the AOT, but we have something cool. It's called the auto bid. So that allows them to automatically return a bid price as soon as the seller requests a bid. And that really makes the process efficient because the buyer doesn't even have to review or click any buttons to get that bid back. Once they've set pricing for the morning and their margins, our system has the ability to automatically retrieve that price for the seller, literally, and return it within seconds after the seller has requested the bid. So pretty powerful. I mentioned, the kind of granular price capabilities. We have what's called a multi-factor component margin, where investors can go in and select, any combination of loan attributes, pretty much anything on a bid tape, and set those up and either choose to restrict off of or set a margin for. So some really granular capabilities to hone in on your price there. We mentioned the AOT. Here's a snapshot of just how easy our tools make the AOT process for buyers. Where again, our tools are going to summarize, what was requested by the seller, how many, which trades are being assigned, and you kind of look up at the top there. You can see we're handling all the math based on the strike price of the trade and current market and how we need to adjust. So again, pretty powerful stuff. We're really just click of a button. Our tools are handling all of that. I talked about CRA. Phil mentioned the AMI stuff too. A lot of you don't know, MCT developed our own geocoder. Really, it's been 4 or 5 years now. And again, it's kind of our vision for investors being able to peer into the pipeline and source out certain types of loans that they're looking for. So you can see here, this would be an example of an investor needing loans in certain MSA tracks. They can go in and pull those, see what's available at the loan level, and make an offer on those loans. So we're really excited about this stuff because not just CRA, as we mentioned, there's other applications for really any type of loan an investor is looking for and has an axe for. So keep an eye on this functionality in the near future here. And going back to the AOT, I mentioned the automation of the tri-party. Another example of what we're providing here for the investors, where what used to be handled through email, now we have a powerful UI to keep track of all of your assignments. So there's no more, again, filtering through your email, seeing what was sent, maybe what didn't get sent, and more importantly, what was confirmed, it's very easy to pull up and view all of the tri-parties that are getting automatically updated in our system with those signatures, but also you'll see a status there as well that lets all three parties, whether you're a seller on the platform, a buyer, and also the broker dealer, what the current status is. Again, that's a total game changer, on the AOT front. So, leave Paul 10 minutes to loop through here on the sell side. So Paul, hand it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. That's good stuff there for buyers. So now on the other side, or MCT's roots here in the seller and lender side, talk about some of this. So what do you need to do to kind of optimize your loan sale? And again, Phil touched out at the top. We're edge advisors. I do have quite a bit of experience on the lender side as well, and so can understand the heartburn that may be caused by seeing this first bullet point of increased investor approvals. Especially for the research department on the phone here, and I know a lot of us wearing several hats these days, and so researching for several investors or having several different processes to get loans bought. But that being said, if we can overcome that, or we're working MCT to increase the efficiency there too. But if you can overcome that, adding more investors obviously is going to add more execution, give you more opportunities to sell loans. Collecting bids from all investors, that's the important part. There's several bullet points here that are going to talk about the important part of having a platform where it's very easy to communicate your available loans for sale to all of your eligible investors. And so, you may have some, well, I only send conventional over here, I only send government over there. Well, some of those investors that you typically send one or the other to, they may have an axe for something you don't typically send them. So having an electronic platform like the MCT Marketplace is makes it very easy to just communicate all your loans available for sale to all the eligible investors. Bid tape AOT, if you've ever been on an MCT webinar, like Phil and Justin mentioned in the past several years, we've hammered home the bid tape AOT, and it's really just been a game changer on the investors that kind of helped us pioneer that, and then like using our functionality to make that very easy to assign trades, your TBA short positions to investors. And so I'll show a couple screenshots of that just to remind everybody what that looks like in just a second. And again, an electronic platform, the other nice part about this is you're passing your borrowers' information, the borrowers that you have collected all this income and social security numbers, and not that that's on any of the bid tapes or anything, but incomes, addresses, FICO scores, loan numbers, names, all that kind of stuff. You want to be able to where the information that needs to go to the investor to appropriately price that loan, you want to get it to them in a secure fashion, and that's what a good platform like the MCT Marketplace is going to do for you. And then you want to make it efficient as well, so not having a bunch of loops to jump through, secure emails to log into, email platforms, this and that to log into. You want to make sure you're in one spot where on a platform that's easy and efficient to send your bids and receive those, send your bid tapes and receive those bids. Some new functionality that we've been working on is normalizing your bids to market, right? So you ask for a bid time of 11 o'clock and you get some at 10:55, you get some at 11:05, and in these days, that 10-minute span can mean several ticks in the market, right? We're very volatile right now. So we've got some functionality that'll help kind of give you an indication to normalize those back to where some sort of even playing field regardless of the market level there. The live shadow bid. So shadow bid in the past has been, you send a tape to an investor you're thinking about getting approved with, and then they send you some pricing back, and you do that a few times and decide based on pricing you want to get signed up. The MCT Live in MCT Marketplace with our security spread commitment functionality, we're able to, again, execute to those shadow bids. So you may not be approved with this investor, they may not have you approved as a counterparty, but assuming you're willing and they're a willing participant here too, you can actually execute to these shadow bids. The important part about that is it actually gives teeth, right? There's no bait and switch to those shadow bids. So that security spread commitment is a game changer when it comes to analyzing shadow bids and making sure they're legit. Even the ones that don't take the security spread commitment, having an automated shadow bid process through a platform like MCT Marketplace just makes it so much more efficient to see where an investor may line up with your needs. You can never say enough about adding the agencies, Fannie and Freddie, and having Ginnie Mae as an outlet. That comes and goes. Sometimes it's good execution, and sometimes it's going to go skew more to the aggregators. But when it's a good one, it's always nice to have. And there's a couple other benefits to having agency and Ginnie Mae as well. So can't say enough can't say it enough to have those in your arsenal there. Co-issue and retained options, like Phil said, we see that as a big opportunity on the co-issue side. There's going to be a lot more co-issue options, and in MCT Marketplace, you'll have those available to you as they come onto the market. We'll be able to show those new entrants there and give you kind of that live. You can't execute to it, but that live bid on a potential co-issue. And then retained. It's always nice to have the ability to retain to, you're growing an asset for the lender, for the company you work for, but you're also just having that ability to retain the borrower when maybe servicing mults in the secondary market and are paying up to what they should be. And so if you can acquire servicing at a good rate there, then that's always nice to have. Go on to that next. Yeah, thanks, Justin. So on MCT Marketplace, like I said, you can bid and execute regardless of approval status. So if you've got a marketplace investor out there, and you want to send bids to them, they may be willing to accept that security spread commitment. And again, that's regardless of approval status. The benefit there being is you've got loans that you want to sell, they've got a price that they want to buy it for, so you're both motivated. And again, even if they're not executing on that shadow bid, then at least you can see over time a very consistent bid from them. A lot of the investors that we have on the marketplace have automated those bids. So you send a tape and you're able to get a price back pretty quick because it's an automated. So what that allows is for you to move quickly throughout your day. Again, we're wearing a lot of folks and lenders these days are wearing a lot of hats, and you may need to just move on through your day. And this, relying on an investor to give you a bid in a timely manner, not having to wait around, is extremely important, and it lets you strike when the market seems right as well. So if you're not waiting around and the market goes haywire because we've got some news come out, getting those automated bids in an efficient manner is great. Our goal at MCT, have every loan priced to every investor or co-issue buyer. That's you'll see a screenshot here in a moment where it's very easy to see how do you bid out to so many investors and see that and get an efficient way to analyze all those bids all at once. And so again, it just behooves you, even without all the paperwork, considering all the paperwork, it behooves you to have as many investors as possible, as co-issue buyers as possible, so you can take advantage of who has the best price that day. And then automated and simplified AOT executions. Again, we've done a lot of this work for you MCT clients on here that have are using our system currently. That's you know how easy it is. You have the AOT rules built in. You select those trades that you want to assign, and then you get them over there. Like I was saying earlier, you can bid and execute regardless of approval status to those marketplace investors. And they're motivated because that investor is motivated because they have loans, or you have loans they want to buy. You're motivated because you saw a price you'd like to sell it for. And so we have found that our process to get new investor approvals from the marketplace is about 5 days, and so pretty quick. Obviously, both sides have to align on things like MLPAs and whatnot, but it can be pretty quick. On average, we're seeing is 5 days. And finally, we've got our BI tools and a couple other things that allow you to see analytics to increase liquidity and profitability. Opportunity curves for investors, and seeing where you maybe other co-issue partners or buyers out there you may be able to take advantage of if you've got a product that maybe you need another outlet for. That's some of the benefits there of selling on the marketplace. So here, what we're looking at is that we've got the MCT Marketplace screenshot on top, and then the BAMCO portion of it on the bottom, the second screenshot there. It's just kind of showing you that when you send out loans for bid, we're giving you these analytics here. How much were bid, what was won by those BAM Marketplace investors and their win rate. And so you can quickly see, like, where is it going to make sense for me to kind of sign up for somebody? What makes sense for here on a counterparty that if I only have so many that I can go after, who should I go after? Who should I get approvals with? And this tool here on any loan sale that you're doing automatically pops up, because if you're opted into that MCT Marketplace, we're sending those bids out for you to price against those marketplace investors. And then down here on the bottom, you got a nice screenshot and an example of the same thing that you're doing here in the whole loan investor, we do on the co-issue buyer as well. And so you've got several BAMCO. These are co-issue buyers in the marketplace. They're kind of providing us with indicative grids that we can go ahead and price out your loans as you're selling them to those marketplace investors there. And then this is a great screenshot. I had to break it up into two, but like Phil said, we've got 22-ish whole loan investors on average per client. Then we've got a few co-issue and then maybe retained in there as well. And we provide you a nice matrix here so you can quickly see who you bid to, who's priced, that's that uploaded column, who you've requested commitments from, and who you confirmed from. So very easy snapshot. This doesn't encompass all our tools to analyze where you should sell the loan to, but at least give you a quick snapshot or a scorecard, if you will, on where you sit as far as your in your loan sale process there. And then AOTs. Again, we can't say enough about AOTs. So when you've done your loan sale, I don't know, for those MCT clients that were on the webinar yesterday, we talked about best X is not always the best price. Maybe sometimes the cover investor has a slightly worse price, but when you consider the AOT, maybe it makes it all of a sudden winning, because you're avoiding that bid-ask spread and able to take advantage of an execution that didn't necessarily show the best price. So this screen right here, what we're showing here on the left side is all the allocations that the investors gave us, the security type, the coupon, the volume. And then this particular investor and the sample I grabbed here allows us to cross-assign coupons. And so we're showing that in that combined coupon summary. You can see here, okay, I've got 1.8 million of Ginny 2s that I can assign in the 6 and 6.5s. Just for the sake of keeping it on one slide, I didn't expand the screen out, but on the bottom section here, we've got the BAM AOT available trades. What we're looking at here, these are the available short positions, and we filter these down. We filtered these down by the broker dealer that the investors will take. So all that's filtered out. You've got things like your security type, coupons, all filtered down to what you have that you plan to commit to that investor. It's from here, it's very easy. You can see a check box over there on the left-hand side. You check that box on the trade that you want to assign. Up at the top left-hand corner, you hit assign. You may need to do a partial assignment. So if that first trade, if I wanted to do 1 million out of that 1.5, I would update my size. I would confirm my assignment. Your tri-party is generated. We stamp your signature on the tri-party, send it to the investor along with all the loans you're going to commit, and you're done. That trade is also lifted from your blotter, so your hedge is also updated. So selling on a platform like this, again, making your day more efficient, getting on to the next thing, and that way you have more time to focus on loan officers and where to get new products and all that kind of stuff. So now we've done the AOTs. Now we need to look at those marketplace bids. I showed you kind of the execution where they bid, but I also wanted to show how we look at security spread commitments. So here on this bottom matrix here, we have our marketplace investors that we potentially commit to. So I may request a commitment from that first investor in the list there, and they may give me a security spread commitment. What that allows me to do is I'm going to hold the loan while I get approved. I've taken the the margin risk and some of the basis risk out, and now all I'm locked into is just that market risk. To avoid that market risk, I'm just going to keep my TBA hedge on. Once the investor has said, okay, we're ready to buy this loan because you're an approved counterparty now, then they lock in that price, you take all the risk off the table, and you send that on over to the investor, just like you would any other commitment. So the functionality here makes that super easy. Then once you're approved, no longer need to go through that. You're good to go. This next, we talked about some the analytics that we use, or some of the tools that we have to go in there and show you that where are investors winning, what's going on here as far as prices go. This is just kind of I took the snapshot of market share from an investor. I took the investor off of the screen here, but some market share where you can see loans that are winning. We've got FICO buckets here, or you've got your loan amount buckets, your property types. We also do like an occupancy bucket, and that way you can come in here and see like, okay, where should I be selling my loans? I've got a lot of non-owners coming up, or I've got a lead on some a good community of second homes. Where should I go with those? Maybe I'm getting into a lower FICO as we expand our credit margins, our credit, our underwriting guidelines. So all of that information, we collect all that information. Where are those loans being sold? What are the prices on them? What are the cover bids? We're going to collect all that information. We can deliver it to you as a loan sale color tool. We can also show you things like opportunity curves. If you have one particular investor that you really like dealing with on the back end, but you really just can't get over maybe the margin hurdle, the execution you're giving up, we've got some tools that can say, hey, investor, if you just can throw in 2 extra basis points, maybe we get this much more in billing, so, or this much more in loans sold to you. So we've got these analytics and these tools to help you get more efficient and hone your execution in on who you're selling loans to. Finally, we've developed a nice little survey with the help of our marketing team to kind of walk you through what is it where do we think we can help? How many investors are you selling to? Are you selling AOTs? And I'm sure all of our wonderful sales staff here at MCT is you probably know them if you're not already an MCT client, or if you are an MCT client and you're just interested in, like, am I doing the best, or am I the most efficient here? Please reach out to your trader, CSG, your sales director, any of those folks here that and we'll be happy to kind of walk you through the diagnostic tool. That's good. All right.
Yeah, well, Paul, thanks for running through that, and I'll tell everybody I definitely that was definitely me going over 10 minutes, Paul. That was well done there at the end. So obviously we don't have time for questions, given that we're 10 minutes over, but we'll be sending out this recording, and like Paul said, you can definitely contact any of your MCT representatives or Justin Grant regarding the buy side on the investor services side. But no, I appreciate everybody staying on here. Looks like we had the vast majority of the group. Paul stayed with you past the hour, so that's really appreciate that, guys. And we'll definitely be back as we refine some of that, some of the newer offerings that Justin was talking about, specifically around the CRA and the affordable stuff. So appreciate everybody's time.